Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's second video doing the fall spring 2023 update from GavsWeatherVids. For this one, wow, gonna be a little bit of a solar special this one. We're looking at springs for around this time in the solar cycle. Springs picked out by Terry. Thank you so much, Terry Scully, for all of the help on this particular spring update. Thank you so much, Tao. I shall get on back for you in a moment. Just to say that the first video today was 6 AM upload. I've got a 10 to 14 day coming to you later on this afternoon. Please like, share, subscribe, and video. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Thank you so much to Richard. Thank you so much to my good friend Richard Trott for the amazing and lovely spring updates gift. Now, we should have named the dog by now. Of course, we've named the lamb's Jerry, but we should have named the dog. I should have done that in Wednesday's live stream, and well, to be honest, I forgot. We're going to name the dog in tomorrow, Monday's live stream. First thing we'll do. So you posted the names on the spring update last week. If you got any other names, then post them in the comments on this update. I'll get all the names together, and we will, we will name a little doggy there, little spaniel. We'll do that for you on tomorrow's live stream. But then we will have both our lamb and our little doggy named. No, I'm so sorry, everybody. So, yes, if you got any suggestions, then post them in the comments, and we're naming the dog tomorrow. Goodness gracious me, I don't know. Right, so thank you so much to Richard for our spring updates gift. Thank you so much to Terry for the help on the video as well. Thank you so much to Shryan, of course, as well. Hashtag Team Gav. I don't know. Right, well, let's have a look then. So, as I say, we're doing a little bit of a show special for this one. This is how the solar disk is currently looking on our side of the list day from solarham.net. So activity is at relatively low levels, but there are various sunspot regions. We're now like 3 years into the solar cycle, number 25. It started in 2020. So Terry has picked out the years that are closest in terms of where we currently are in solar cycle number 25. So let's have a look. So our first spring that Terry picked out for us is a spring of 1956, and this one is a cold spring, actually, I think, with above average heights out to our west, below average heights to our south, and our eastern winds coming in from an easterly direction. Of course, the thing with that is it follows on from a severely cold February. No, that pattern kind of fed on for a while anyway into the spring, as often happens after a cold winter. The next spring is much better. You like a warm, drier spring. It's 1957. So remember, with solar cycles, you can get overlaps a lot of the time from 1 year to another, you know. So you have to bear that in mind. A lot of the time, the matches will be like 2 years rather than one single year. So the next match that Terry picked out for us is the spring of 1957. This is a warm and dry spring with plenty of high pressure to the north. Winds seem to be in pretty east, one of the easy winds, but it is a warm and dry spring there. 1957, very nice spring. That one. Then we've got the spring of 1967. This is the next one that Terry has picked out. So we get below average heights through the North Atlantic and into Northern Europe. Above average heights pulled out into the Atlantic, a little bit like that. And the jet stream is going in that sort of direction. So it's unsettled spring. Probably some cold snaps in there. Don't think it's a particularly cold spring, but it is quite a mixed spring. Excuse me. And then the next spring is 1968. This one more unsettled, I think, with below average heights extending through much of northern and west Europe. It does have a little bit of a blocking signal towards Greenland as well. So that's quite a wet spring and probably quite a cool spring as well in 1968. Then we've got spring of 1979. This is, of course, following on from a cold winter again. So as I say, when you have a cold winter, a lot of the time, the pattern of that winter will continue into the spring, particularly the earlier part of spring. This one, the pattern carried on right way through the spring, so even in May, you know, it was still cold a lot of the time, still snowing. So it has a strong northern blocking signal around the North Atlantic up to Greenland, with below pressure extending through west of Europe and jet stream digging southwards rather like that. So a cold, a wintry spring in 1979. And then we also got 1980. This is a slightly better spring, I think, with high pressure tend to be more to the north and over Scandinavia, low pressure to south. A lot of easterly winds, as you often get in spring. It's the most easterly of the seasons. May, the most easterly of the months of the year. And so that's probably, you know, rather mixed to the south. I think there's quite a bit of rain down in the south, but it's relatively mild spring, I think, that we get there in 1980, not too bad. Then we've got a spring of 1989, which is a funny old spring, and I'm not sure the analogue, you know, tells you all that much. So you get the deep below average heights in the North Atlantic, above average heights over here. It looks like it's an unsettled spring and very westerly. But every month is individual with this. So we have a relatively dry and mild March, I think. And then we go into a much colder April. April 1989 is really quite a cold month, and there is actually more snow in the April of 1989 than there is in the entirety of the winter of 88-89, which is pretty much a snowless winter. And then we get a very warm spell in May of 1989. It's a long, hot summer that we have in 1989. It gets going as early as May 1989, I think. So it's a strange old spring, that one. And then we've got a spring of 1990. This is just a relatively warm and dry spring, really. See the nice ridge of the Azores into the west of Europe, low pressure pushed away to the north. Again, hot summer follows this, and so the pattern of that summer gets going through the spring of 1990. That sometimes happens as well. When you have a hot summer, the pattern can start in the spring, and that's a great example of that. It has a very warm May again, I think, in May of 1990. But unlike 89, I think also March and April are also relatively dry and quite warm. And then we've got a spring of 1999, another one that Tony has picked out for us in the spring of 1999. This one looks like it's quite cool and unsettled spring, so there is quite a lot of northern blocking signals within high latitudes. Actually, it's relatively mild spring. There's a few cold snaps in, especially around the middle of April. There's quite a potent cold spell, but overall, it's a relatively mild spring. And May is quite May 1999 is quite a warm month, I think. And then go to the spring of 2011. So this one is a dry and warm spring with high pressure dominating through much of the time, and particularly focus on April, which is the warmest April on record, almost a summer month, just day after day of clear blue skies and very, for the time of year, very warm sunshine. So April 2011 is absolute classic, but the rest of the spring is relatively dry and quite warm as well. And then finally, we've got the spring of 2012. And again, this analog doesn't necessarily tell you everything about that spring. It has got an anticyclonic signal overall, but again, each month is very individual in the spring of 2012. So March 2012 is a very dry and mild month. April does a flip into a very cold and wet pattern. It's an exceptionally wet April in 2012, and also quite cold as well. And then May turns warm in 2012, and we actually have the warmest spell of the summer really occurring in May of 2012, because the summer of 2012 is our last proper washout, cold, wet washout summer. So again, that's a funny old spring that we get in 2012 with a lot of intra-month variation. Right, let's start putting all that together then. So this is how all Marches combined are looking for our solar matches. We find that we get below average height centre out to the west of the country, above average heights to our south and to our east. So the winds are coming up from a southwesterly direction. So a mild signal for those Marches, quite unsettled, particularly so in the north, although we have got quite a strong ridge just to our south. So some of those Marches, like got 2012 in there, for example, some of those Marches could be very dry, but I think overall quite an unsettled but mild signal for the Marches. April is unsettled but colder, with more of a mid-Atlantic ridge type signal, and the below average heights tending to be to our east and south, so tending to bring in more of like a northeasterly type flow with those Aprils. And then all Mays combined just look rather mixed, really, with the Mays. So sort of a shallow ridge within the 500 millibar flow tends to be across the North and West Europe. Overall, quite a mixed sort of signal for both springs. But bear in mind, you know, we've got 1989, we've got 1990, and they've got 2012. They were very nice Mays as well. So later on, perhaps, you know, there's a trend there maybe towards drier and warmer conditions, especially in the Mays. This is how all springs combine. Look, finally, for the solar cycle matches picked out for us by Terry. Thank you so much, Terry, for that. With the below average heights just tending to be dominating across much of the North Atlantic and Northern Europe. So obviously it's an unsettled signal for those springs overall, but particularly so, I think, in the Aprils, actually. The Marches and the Mays tend to be a little bit more variable, but probably quite a cold, wet pattern for a lot of those Aprils. Right, that's it then. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to today's 4th Spring 2023 update. Of course, we're releasing the spring forecast at GavsWeatherVids on February the 26th, so we are counting down, you know, to the spring forecast, and that's another update done and dusted. Thank you so much to hashtag Team Gav. Thank you so much to Terry, to Rich for the gift. Thank you so much to Shryan, as always, as well. Thank you so much to hashtag Team Gav, firing on all cylinders. Right, so got 10 to 14. Now, I'll just say next week, I'm not sure if that would be a spring update next week or not. I'm not sure what's happening next weekend at the moment. It's my brother's birthday, and quite a big one this year. So I think we're going to be doing something, but I'm not sure what we're going to be doing yet. So if I'm sort of away, you know, having a bit of a celebration with my brother and family next weekend, then some of the updates will be on the back burner a little bit. But I'll let everybody know, you know, via the social media channels and via the community tab as well. So just watch your space on that. Right, so that's before spring update done. Just to say that later on today, we're going to have your 10 to 14 there, so make sure you check that out for this week's full spring. Excuse me, this week's full spring 2023 update. That's all for now, and thanks so much.